on in. Come on in. Welcome this beautiful afternoon. We are here. This is Yvonne Gaines, also known as Color Queen Ashtay. I am here today to answer all your questions. Please have questions about the perfect color consultation. That's a big thing in the salon that we really need to do, especially now. Fall's coming, holidays coming. Everybody wants a new color. Not to mention, we have our texture takeover coming up on the 10th and 11th of November. So if you have not already registered, please register. I'm going to remind you again before this is over with. But in that class, we're going to be teaching the perfect platinum. So therefore, these steps are so relevant to achieve that or any other colors you would like to do within the Ashtay family and all the service that you offer for your clients. Again, this is Yvonne Gaines. Welcome in, welcome in. We're going to go in today to a very easy yet complicated and often missed subject. So as you're coming in, I want to ask where you're coming from. Let me know where you are in the comments. Where are you watching from? If you have any questions, comments, responses, please let us know throughout there. And I'm going to try to answer everything. I'm going to comment with you. This is very interactive. So you got me. So ask the questions that you want to ask. It's going to be fine. But we're going to start off with the perfect consultation. What we're going to do is when your client comes in, because so often people ask, well, how do I know what they can achieve? What goals are realistic for the color services? This is when you have to sit down and have a talk with your client. Don't just say, come in, I'm slap some color on your hair, because it doesn't work that way. Because one, we want to remain a complete professional in this whole process. Being a professional, it means to go in, examine your client, talk to them, see what their needs are, see what their wants are, see what their lifestyle is. If they're a client that only wants to come in the salon once every 6 months, color service is not for them. If they're a client that has a busy, that work out every single day, then maybe they need to come down on a lower color level. They're not going to go to the 8, 9, 10s, platinums, because that's going to be a lot of salt in their hair, a lot of stress, a lot of extra shampooing. So you have to be mindful of seeing what your client wants. If they're younger, they might not have the funds or the time to come in the salon. If they're a working person, make sure that they are compatible to what their job is giving them. Sometimes we get clients that have whims like, oh, I want this here, I want all these colors, but it might not be work appropriate. And then we can, as stylists, we can incorporate, well, we could do a fun pop of color, but I have to do a pickable color for them. So make sure you bring your clients in, set time down, and really have a conversation. You want to bring your client in? I'm going to bring my client in right now. She can mannequin though. And you want to, after you talk to her, see what she wants to do, what she wants to achieve. Go in, examine her hair. If you're going like this here and her hair is popping, she's not a candidate for color at this time. And then that's when you want to talk her into going into maybe getting a couple conditioning services first, which we have the perfect conditioning for that there. If they're coming in, they have breakage, you have got to have our Ashtay fortifier. This is a must for every color service, every chemical service, pre-service, after service. So they might have to come in and they might have to get a fortified treatment first before you even think about seeing where their color is going to go to. You have to do a fortifying treatment. And I'm going to explain that a little later on through our service. We're going to go in. We're going to check our client's scalp, see how strong her hair is. Look at the length she has. Because if she has hair like this here, and she's talking about going platinum, that's a lot of work. So you have to see, you want a haircut, you want to keep your hair long, maybe you just want some highlights, you might not want all over color. Check all those things first with your client. Then what you want to do, and this is so important because so many people I have found talking to stylists, we don't do porosity tests anymore. I do them, but often we don't do porosity tests anymore. A lot of us never either learn properly how to do a porosity test or we just forgot about it. But that makes such a big difference in what you're going to do with one, how strong is this hair? How porous is this hair? And doing a porosity test is going to help also determine when I go in there with the color, what strength volume I'm going to need for your hair. Because if this hair is very, very porous, I could do a lift with a 10 volume. But if this hair is very resistant, I might have to bump it up to a 30 or a 40. So it's very important to go in, and if you forgot how to do a porosity test, and you need this for all your color services, all your relaxer services, and just as a general, keep an idea with your regular clients to see if the porosity has changed, because through menopause, all this stuff changed, medications, it changed. So this way you have a very accurate accountability of what your client has going on. Write this stuff down on their client card, and you can go from there. We're going to go on the top of the hair, and we're going to take a small section of hair in the top. And what we want to do, we're going to take this piece of hair and we're going to hold it taut, not tight. And as you notice, I'm not holding this hair up here. A lot of times people try to conceive a proper reading with the hair all in the air. What happens is this hair might have been chemically processed. It might have layers in it, and you will get a false reading. You want to go down to where the regrowth is. And even if they're natural, you still want to go down there where you perceive at least like a half an inch or 3/4 of an inch from the base of the hair. This way, because even as a natural client, if they're doing a lot of blow drying, if they're doing a lot of silk presses, if they're wearing a lot of braids, this still can give you a false reading. And you want to go in, you want to grab that strand, and you're going to slide it down. When you slide it down, that hair is going to do one of three things. It's either, if it's very, very porous, it's going to bunch up. It's going to bunch up, bunch up, bunch up, bunch up. It looks like a fluffy cloud. If it's normal, just a little bit of come. You'll just get this the very minimal of bunching. But if that hair is resistant, you could slide all day long and that hair is not going to budge. So you know automatically, okay, this client's going to need a higher strength peroxide when I go to achieve her lift. So whether I could do it with, I'll know my decolorizer, what to use, what strength to use, even help me with my timing and doing the service. So I'll know if she's going to take a longer time. So when I make this appointment, we're going to book out at least a 2.5, 3 hour slot, depending on the color service. And also be mindful of your timing. When you're doing your color services, you want to make sure you give the client enough time to go through so you can process it, so you can watch it. Don't make them feel like they're rushed, or don't you rush yourself and end up having bad results with it. When we decide that her hair is healthy enough to have a color, then or I'm not. In fact, let me start with not healthy enough. If she's not healthy enough, I'm gonna say, okay, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna schedule for a fortifying treatment. With, again, our fortified treatment is magic in a bottle. It is amino acids based, the same amino acids that are in your hair naturally. It goes in and it strengthens them bonds. It pulls them back together and holds them together. You can use this several different ways when you're doing your color service. When they're coming in first, as a treatment, you're going to take it, you're going to put it in your little mister bottle, and what you're going to do is you're going to shampoo the hair first with our clarifying shampoo. Again, this is a must for all your color treatments because it's going to take all the buildup, any residue, any hairspray, any product off that hair. You go in with your clarifying shampoo, shampoo the hair 2 to 3 times. Make sure it's good and clean. You'll feel it's soft. Thing about our clarifying shampoo, it does not strip the hair, doesn't make it hard, doesn't make it dry. It gives the perfect palette for color application. So even a client comes in and you're going to put a semi-permanent color on or color service, you might have to do a light shampoo to get any residue off their hair. And also advise them, especially the regular clients, not to do anything to their hair prior to you servicing that client. But I want to shampoo her hair, make sure her scalp is good and clean. Then I'm going to go in with my fortifying treatment. I'm going to take it and I'm going to mist it. I don't want to drown her hair because the thing about it is that it's only going to absorb what it needs. If you oversaturate it, it's going to run in the sink and you've wasted money. is this is again a charge service. Don't give your fortifier away for free, because when you do this process, when the client knows they're coming for a color service, they have to already know this is required. I'm gonna need to make sure I give you treatments before, during, and after. So they have to make sure they commit to that, because so often clients don't want to commit to, I want the color for the moment, and then I don't want the work behind it. As you see, I wear platinum hair. This hair requires a lot of work, and the fortifier is my best friend. You want to fortify it, you're going to take it, and you're going to put them in a plastic cap, and you will put them under, you can put them under your dryer for 15, 20 minutes, or you could actually even spray it on and put it under your steamer for additional 15 minutes under the steamer. You want that to penetrate to that hair. When you take them out, you're going to take them to the shampoo pool. You're going to rinse them with tempered water. You're going to rinse the client down, make sure everything's out their hair, and then you're going to go in with our cream revitalizer. Again, this is a must for you having any color services. Our cream revitalizer is extremely hydrating. It puts that moisture in. It says on the bottle that it helps for dry, brittle hair, but I always say if you keep it on all the time, your hair never gets dry and brittle. So it's a requirement for your color service, as well as you can even sell this retail to your clients. So when they go home, if they wash their hair in between, shampoo their hair, they'll have something to put on to keep their hair hydrated. And if you're doing the higher lift blondes, I highly recommend it for you to retail to this client. Now, you cannot retail the fortifier because that is a professional product, but you can retail them the cream revitalizer. For the cream revitalizer, you can let it sit in the bowl for 10, 15 minutes, or you can put it back in another cap and set them on the dryer. Put it on the dryer, especially if you're doing pre-treatment, gives even that much more of the moisture sealed into that hair. And after that moisture is sealed in, you take them back to the bowl, you rinse them again with cool water, and you proceed what you're going to do next with your styling. When you get ready to style the hair, another must that they have to have is Moisture Plus. If you don't know about our Moisture Plus, what are y'all waiting for? Everybody gets Moisture Plus. Send your clients home with Moisture Plus. This is a pure humectant. Will not weigh the hair down, doesn't cause buildup, but it's going to give you that hydration you need, especially doing color services, especially with textured hair, because already sometimes we find a problem with being textured that it also always feels kind of dry. This is going to also keep that hydration level up. It also acts as a heat protectant. It also keeps the hydration. Great for wash and goes, great for your roller sets, great for whatever product after. If you're going to go do your silk press, silkiest silk presses, Moisture Plus. And then you can proceed to go ahead and style your client's hair. Have them then set up a time to come back in when I know your hair is strong enough, and then we can proceed with the color treatment. When I go in to do a color treatment, first thing we'll do again, when they come back in our chair, and I looked at, okay, there's no product in her hair, she's not built up, I can actually go straight into the service. But if I need to shampoo it, then I'm going to lightly shampoo through the hair. I'm not going to irritate the scalp, but I'm going to shampoo and make sure I don't have any residue on the hair with my clarifying shampoo. Towel it dry really good. Go in with a little bit of cream revitalizer, rub it in, and pull it through the hair. Again, what this is going to do is it's going to give a protection on the ends of this hair, because I'm about to go into a color service. So we want to always constantly reinforce the integrity of the hair. After I do that, bring them back to my chair. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my trusty dusty again. I know I keep saying it, but this is the must fortifier. I'm going to mist her hair with this fortifier. What's going to do in there, one of the key things is going to put that strength into the hair. It also, because it acts like our radar, is going to go into any of these little pockets where you might have weak spots going all the way up through. It's going to get in all the weak spots. It is going to feel a smooth filler, a smooth base for me to start my color service. That way you don't get those tiger stripes, because that's the worst thing. Have you ever done a color and you look like, okay, where do those spots come from? A lot of times that comes from uneven porosity. That's why I said, even though you check at the root for the main porosity, you still have to look at what the rest of this hair is doing. So doing that one gives you an even slate. It's putting that protein on the hair to keep it strong. It also gives you a much more even, healthy coloring service. And then I'm going to take my trusty dusty fortifier. If you're doing a decolorizer service, and in case you don't know what the colorizer is, well, we don't say bleach. We say the colorizer. One thing you want to make sure when you're dealing with your client that you keep your verbiage. You bleach clothes, you decolorize hair. One that takes some of the fear out of your client and they know you know what you're doing before you do it. So we take a few sprays into our actual mixture of our decolorizer. What that does is it automatically gives you a conditioning fortifying treatment while you are decolorizing that hair. So when that cuticle starts opening up, that fortifier goes in the air and it penetrates that hair shaft and it makes it strong. One thing also, it does not change the strength of your developer. So you don't have to worry about changing or alternating it in any type of way, shape, or form because it's not going to do that service. Whether you're doing all over color, whether you want to go in and maybe you're doing some highlights with some foiling, whatever the color that you're trying to achieve, that's what you want to go in and do on that client. Whether it requires a dryer, whether it's a sit and stand, do your process. When it's finished and you've checked your color and you are content and happy with the service that you have, the colors you have, you and your clients are like, okay, this is what we said, this is what I want. Sometimes the clients want like a lighter color. Sometimes you might have to take a towel, wipe it off, and kind of take a picture of it and show it to them. Because sometimes the shock is too much for them to say, okay, I'm here. Are you absolutely positive you want to go up? You don't want to overlift if you don't have to. Because sometimes people want light and they're like, no, I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it. So just make sure you constantly talk to your client through the process and they're very, very sure of what they want. Because there's nothing worse to get done. They're like, oh, it's too light. Can you darken it? And here you have a whole nother process that you could avoid by just making sure you kept the lines of communication with your clients on throughout the entire service. After I collect it to the bowl and I rinse my hair, I'm going to first shampoo my hair with neutralizing shampoo. People always say neutralizing shampoo. Yes. Our neutralizing shampoo one is pearly white. So you don't have to worry about it messing with your hair. Don't worry about it changing the color, what you did in your hair. It's not going to alter the color. But the biggest thing is when you use neutralizing shampoo, you want to bring that pH back to normal. That's where people have dryness, breakage with their hair. If you think it's only for a relaxer, no. Because when you get a relaxer and it rises up that cell, we put on neutralizer to bring it back down, your pH back to normal. When you get color, it rises a little bit higher. So therefore, you want to bring it back to a normal pH. That's going to close them cuticles back down, keep the hair tight, and you don't have to worry about it breaking off and falling off. So after you go and use your neutralizing shampoo, you can go back in again with your cream revitalizer shampoo. Now you can't your cream revitalizer conditioner. Now you can use a silk protein shampoo, but again, we're looking at color service, keeping the integrity of the hair, keep as much moisture in the hair as possible. So going back in and repeating with your cream revitalizer is going to only reinforce that hair, give it that shine, giving that body to it. Beautiful. Now, if you're going in and you're only doing you're going to go into a semi-permanent because you're only lifting that hair up 1 or 2 levels, then what you want to do is you want to rinse your developer off, and your decolorizer off, and then go in with one of our beautiful shades of essence. This is one of my favorite ones, Flaming Red, the most beautiful, vibrant red, high shine, heavy concentrated. It grabs onto the hair almost like it's a demi-permanent color to a permanent color, because with our colors, you get grow out. They literally grow out from the scalp. You don't get wash off. There's no bleeding. There is no fading. It stays true to tone. So you would go in, especially if you're using our red, you don't want to lift that hair up to a level 7, 8, 9. Because once you get out the color family, it's not going to work. It's going to fade off. But that's another class. You have to join our ashley.com. We have so many classes online for the fundamentals of color. Because really, before you start color, you really should look at our fundamentals of color video to make sure that you know what you're doing, to go in here and be comfortable, confident, and you're not sitting there, oh my God, what do I do next? You don't want to do that. So you go in your semi-permanent color, our semi-permanent color. Also, we can use to cover gray only after relaxer though. So if you go in and you're not doing no other color service and you just do the relaxer, yes, it is safe to put our semi-permanent color over a freshly relaxed hair. To get total gray coverage, that is the best time to get total gray coverage, especially if you're trying to go to the blacks. Another thing, if you're doing ebony black, which our ebony black is so gorgeous, and you have a high concentration of gray, again, this is where you have to watch our video for fundamentals of color, because when you understand your fundamentals of color, you know that one, that missing pigment in gray hair is red. So if you're trying to cover black hair, you're going to have to put something with a little bit of red base. That's when our chocolate brown comes in. One is so gorgeous. You can go in there, you can mix it with our ebony black. You can do a small amount if you want more of a darker ebony black. But if you want that more kind of off black, natural black, you could adjust it accordingly to your client, and that's going to give you total gray coverage. So remember, if you're mixing our ebony black on all gray hair, which we also, again, on our thing, we have videos of showing us taking a client with heavy salt and pepper, relaxing her hair, going in and using the ebony black along with the chocolate brown, and give the most beautiful gray coverage. Now, if you want to highlight your grays, then that's when it's fine to use the red or our copper or our fuchsia. All those colors give you the most vibrant look. And copper, oh my goodness, and having pre-existing grays gives a natural highlighted look to your service. So make sure, again, that you tune in to our fundamentals of color, but make sure, again, if you have not registered for our texture takeover, it is going to be mind-blowing. We're going in with all type of texture styles, coloring, styling, education. And again, in that process, we're going to go over these steps again with you. So remember, if you haven't, it's coming up November the 10th and 11th. You don't want to miss it. It's virtual. So you sit at home, you get out your notepad, you ask questions. If you haven't signed up, it's a no-brainer. You need to sign up. Slots are going fast, so don't wait until the morning of. Go ahead and sign up now. Ashley.com. I'm sure we have the link on the screen. Sign up. We can answer even more questions one-on-one through the screen, of course. But you can ask questions, and we will respond to your questions and tell you everything you need to know. So after you've done your color service, I'm jumping back. After you've done your color service and you've gone on and done your conditioning treatment again, then you want to go in once again before you do any styling with your Moisture Plus again. The Moisture Plus is going to give you that hydration back to the hair. It's going to keep it soft. Also, make sure, again, this is a must retail. You have to look at when you're coloring surface, it's more than just the surface. You have to make sure that you're very, very, very adamant with your retail behind this, because if you're doing higher lift colors, they have to be able to go home with the products they need. Retail them are either sulfate-free shampoo, it's a moisturizing shampoo, or cream and biolizer shampoo. Our silk protein shampoo. Send them home with cream of biolizer and send them home with Moisture Plus. You might want to put a package together, and that's the easy way to do, to say that this is a color package. This is required for you to take home service. Now, you have those clients that come every week and they're not going to shampoo their hair at home. Then you still make sure they keep Moisture Plus so they can put this on their hair, just to maintain their hair throughout the week. We got any questions, comments? I don't see nothing coming up on my feed. Ask me now while you got me. Miss Faye, we have any questions in the chat?
We have a question. How can I prevent color from causing dryness or breakage while doing color?
Doing color, one, the biggest steps of keeping it from being dry and breakage is, again, making sure that hair stays hydrated. Make sure it says fortifier. With putting the fortifier in the hair prior to your color services, that's going to keep that hair from being over processed. And then on top of that, making sure that you maintain healthy hair with using your cream revitalizer and use your Moisture Plus. That's going to keep it from being dry. Because most times when hair is dry and brittle, it's because the stylist, and I say stylist, overlifts that hair, kills the cuticle, and then puts nothing back in to repair what's on the hair. We have several clients that have coppers, golds, reds, and their hair is soft, hydrated, moisturized. So you have to make sure that during your steps, you keep putting that moisture in it and then take home. Your client knows that, okay, you have color in your hair. You have to make sure that you moisturize your hair. Don't shampoo with everything off the market. That's why you make sure you retail your clients what they need for their hair coverage. Any more comments?
Yes, many people are saying hi. Bianca Smith, Paris, people before Kathy Williams,
Hey,
Mel.
Kathy.
Yeah,
Hey,
many
everybody.
people saying hi. And we have another question. So,
Mhm.
um, what's the safest way to lift hair color without damaging curl patterns?
Low and slow. When you're lifting the higher colors, everybody wants to grab the higher volumes. Not for when you have texture hair. What you want to do, you want to do it low and slow. And we mean by low and slow, low volume peroxide. So normally you do it at a 20 as opposed to a 30 or 40. You're going to put it on the hair, again, using your fortifier. Um, you might have to encase that hair with foils, depending on the texture, but you want it to come up low and slow. You don't want to put no dryer heat to it, minimal of even light heat to it. But if you do it low and just let it gradually, that's why I said make sure you book your appointments accordingly. Because when you do it low and slow like that, there with not a lot of heavy manipulation, don't pull and stretch that hair because it's at such a fragile state because it's going through a color thing. You want to make sure when you go through and make your partings, you're being very gentle with that hair. Whether you're doing brush on or pull in, you want to make sure that you're gentle with that texture and let it drop. Doing that way, you're going to keep your curl pattern. Like I said, again, make sure that hair is strong enough when you go to the higher levels. When you start getting past 8 and 9, it can sometimes soften because it's only texturize your hair a bit. Make sure their curl pattern is strong enough to withstand some of the softening of the curl, because you will sometimes go on to higher lifts, will lose a little bit of the tightness, but if you do it properly, that fortifier is going to bring and hold that curl in. So that's also a very key step to making sure you have it fortified before you do it, during it, and make sure you give them a full fortifying treatment after it's over also. That's going to keep that hair strong and keep you from losing your curl pattern.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. So, we don't have any more questions yet, but you can keep going.
Okay. So again, after you've checked your client, when they come back in, they need to come back in. It is required for them to come back in 1 to 2 weeks after their color service to go in and start a maintenance program. Especially anything over a 7, lifting up to a 7, the week after, I want you back in my chair. I'm going to give you another fortifying treatment. The whole thing is preventive. If you go in there ahead of time and you keep all these things on their hair, you're not going to have dry, damaged hair. This is not a thing for the light. If you know you're not going to get your hair done, don't lift their hair up. They might just need some lift to a 1 or 2 or 3 and sit there and put conditioning color on it. Again, all our semi-permanent colors, they're very hydrating, they're very conditioning, they give the most beautiful, brilliant shine to them, and you want to go in with those. So make sure that people know if they're getting lighter colors, this is a commitment. We'll talk on it more when you check into our texture takeover. And we lift into the blondes, that is definitely a commitment. It's not a once and gone thing. Unless you're wearing a little brush cut and you're about to go to a barbershop and get it cut back off in 4 or 5 weeks. Make sure they make a schedule. Make sure they understand what this comes with that, because it's commitment. It is a very strong commitment, and sometimes people are not willing to make that commitment. So make sure that you both have an understanding. Have them sign a waiver so that if they go and don't come back for 3 months and their hair starts breaking, they won't say, "You made my hair fall out." No, we had a discussion. I told you the requirements for getting this color and what I need you to do. So when your clients understand the requirements, it's so much easier to go through and have healthy hair, beautiful hair, hydrated hair, the Ashtay way. Any more questions? Any
Awesome.
more comments?
Yes, we have some comments and some questions. Um, on black hair, let me show you. On black hair, how can you get highlights to a 7?
Okay, first of all, is it on black hair natural or black hair that has been color treated? That's a whole nother thing, because then you got to go into correct the coloring. If it's virgin hair means there is no color on there already, as far as a dark color, because they have black color on their hair. That's one of the things that you might not want to go down that road, depending on how long it's been since they had a color service on there, because the lift up process might be too hard on the hair and you can lose the integrity of the hair. If it's natural, again, this is when you go through your levels. You know, if you're trying to get a level 7, you're going to have to lift it all the way up through those levels to get to a 7. It can be done. It might have to be reapplied to the hair depending on, like I said, again, the porosity of the hair, how dark black, because you have level 1, which is most times if it's a level 1, they probably have color on it. They might be a level 2 or 3 naturally that looks like it's very dark. And you know from a 3, you know how many levels you have to lift to get to a 7. So it can be achieved, again, low and slow, knowing that are you going to leave it that color? Are you going to tone off with it? Are you going to add some semi-permanent to it? Or you just want a clean level 7? Again, understanding your tones and undertones, which is, again, we're very adamant at Ashtay of educating our stylists before we even start something, because once you understand how to get to that, then you can make a more educated decision. Because I tell people time, I can do a platinum on 10 people, exact same color, and I use a different formulation for each one of them according to what their hair care needs is. I might have a client that is a level 3 with very porous hair, so I use one on her. I might have one that's a level 2 with resistant hair. That's a different thing. But understanding the true concept, how to live properly, what are the stages you go through, it makes it more easy to decide what. So I can tell you how to do it, but until I see that client, and that's where your consultation goes in, and you educate yourself to know exactly how far I have to lift up to get to that color.
Awesome, awesome. She was saying that it was virgin hair.
Okay, on virgin hair, again, knowing what her base is, because when you tell me black, I need to kind of see the client's hair first in the consult. So if their hair is dark, if they're a true 1, which you only see most so in Indians, Asian type hair, they're probably at level 2. So what I want to do is I want to lift that hair up. I might need 2 applications to it, because if their hair is strong enough, you could go with a 40 if they're virgin to bring them up to where they need to go through. You know, you have to bring up that 40 volume is going to give you 4 to 5 levels of lift depending on the porosity of the hair. Sometimes it can take you 7 levels of lift. You have to see again what you're starting with and how the hair is coming out of the scalp. What is the porosity of the hair? What's the condition of the hair? You might have to wipe it off at the 30 mark or 40 mark and reapply to give it that time to lift it up to a 7. Because again, if there are 2, you have to get up to a level 7. There's no like jump in between. Hair goes through stages. It's going to have to go through the 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. It's going to have to go through all of the undertones of it. So it's going to go through that red brown stage. It's going to go through the red. It's going to go through the red orange. It's going to go to the orange. It's going to go to the gold. It's going to go to the yellow. So you have to make sure that a level 7, are you level 7 that you're toning because you want the lift of a 7, and then you're going to tone, or you want the raw lift of a 7. So once I know that better, then I can come up with a stronger concept and a stronger formulation for that. But it can be lifted up. Again, when you understand the fundamentals of color and know the stages the hair has to go through, then you know, am I coming back in afterwards And am I toning this hair to get a tonal value, or am I doing a raw lift for a level 7? Because those are two different colors.
Okay, awesome, awesome. She's saying thank you.
You're
And we also have
welcome.
another question in the chat. Where is good products to start for resistance hair types to start hair color?
First, repeat the question, please.
Where what are good products to start for resistance hair types to start hair color?
Again, the fortifier. Once you get your fortifier, that's the basic. Then you can go and you can pick whatever the colorizer that you're more comfortable with. There's so many amazing ones on the market. Ashtray does not have a decolorizer, but we do have all the conditioning products that go with it. Once you get a good decolorizer that you're safe with, if you're going up to go from dark hair to light, you have to make sure you get a decolorizer that says 9+ lifts. Really, if you're going to go, if you're trying to get to platinum, you need one that says either 9+ or it's like 10 lift. Because if you get something that says 7 levels of lift and you're trying to go to a level 8 or 9, you're going to have trouble achieving that there, because the formulation is made to lift a certain level. And if you don't have the lift power from the beginning, then you're not going to achieve, and you're going to give yourself a lot of unnecessary headache, a lot of extra work, and then that's where you start getting damaging of the hair. So make sure that your product that you get has 9+ lifts on it. That is a must going for high level. So keep you a high lift formulation, and then keep you a regular low lift formulation for some of those 2s and 3s and 4s, and then use your higher lift when you're going to know you're going to go past the 4, 5, 6, 7 to 10 levels. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I think she said that she has to get the decolorize. So thank you.
Yes, so decolorizer. So your decolorizer is going to lift. Your fortifier is going to keep that hair healthy and on your hair, but you have to make sure the decolorizer is at least a 9+ lift decolorizer. Also, a really good trick with us, when you're toning, especially some of the lighter hairs going into these blondes, one, make sure you understand that trying to tone hair, you cannot tone to platinum. Now you could tone to anything else below there, but you cannot tone to platinum at a level 8 or a level 9. You have to be at least a 9.5 to 10 to tone off that hair. We get this question so often. People send me pictures and they're at a level 8, level 7. And they're saying, "Oh, I'm trying to tone, but it's not toning." Tone can only take a level.
Sorry, Ivan, we can't hear you.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's
I think
better.
someone's trying to call in. I think it messed it up. Someone was trying to call in. But yes, you want to make sure that you're toning at the right level. You cannot tone again at a 7, 8, and depending on how you're toning, even a 9, you have to be to that 9.5, 10 to tone. And tone only takes out unwanted color. Now the bonus with us, we use our ebony black. Yes, I said ebony black. We use our ebony black with our neutralizing shampoo or our silk protein shampoo. Both of those shampoo are the perfect pearly white consistency. They have no number 9 yellow dye in them. So what happens is it's a pure slate, and you take and put 1 drop to 2 drops. You kind of see how you want to for the color you want. It's going to give you the most beautiful pearly color when you go in there, because our ebony black is a violet base. Violet neutralizes yellow. Again, that's why you have to go to the fundamentals of color. Violet, not purple. Violet neutralizes yellow. And when you get up there, you can take our shampoo and our ebony black, shampoo that hair, let it sit 3 to 5 minutes, and it's going to take that last bit of yellow tone off the hair. That's how you properly tone. I use it on my hair. It takes out that little tinge you see left. But if my hair is not at a level 10, it's not going to work. 9.5 is still a little, say 9.5 plus, really. That's how you tone properly. You have to make sure you achieve the proper colors on the hair. That also works beautifully for the most prettiful gray silver hair that gets that little dingy yellow tinge on it. This is also the same color combination you would use to take that off, and you have the most beautiful silver, bright hair. You might add a little more of our ebony if the person's hair is a little more pepper, which is that darker gray. But if they're that white gray, you do the same thing you would do for your platinums. You go in, shampoo it, and you will have the most beautiful tonal values to your hair. Any more questions?
No questions for now.
Okay. So do review again. Make sure you bring your client in, have a conversation with your client. Check the hair, do your porosity test. If that hair is strong, and even have them come in, do a treatment if it's not, if you feel that you see a little bit of shedding or breaking, because you do not want to ever put color on a person's hair that has breakage in the hair. If their hair is healthy, strong, set up your date, come in, fortify that hair first with, again, our fortifier. Go ahead, do your color service. After the service, again, shampoo the hair out with neutralizing shampoo. If it's a higher lift, fortify it again, put them under the dryer, have them come out, cream revitalizer for the wind, rinse it out with cool water, go back in, Moisture Plus, because everybody needs Moisture Plus. And then continue styling with either our foaming lotion, which is also hydrating moisture. The thing about Ashley line, everything we have keeps that moisture buildup on the hair. And also, again, make sure you retail, because that's also very important. Understanding where you're going. Don't guess. Have a client bring you pictures. Have them show you their inspirational shots. Because a lot of times someone might say honey blonde to me, and I have a totally different concept of what the yellow blonde is or honey blonde is. Show your inspiration. And if it's something that's not realistic for your client and you know it's going to cause breakage or damage, or you know your client is not going to be committed to that, have a conversation. You might have come down a few levels on their hair and say, this is not really achievable. If they have relaxer on their hair, they're not going to be able to get these high lift blondes because it's going to break off. It's going to pop off. Know that the client is natural. Do a strand test to check the hair, because sometimes a client will say, oh, I don't have any color on my hair, and they actually do. So use your professionalism as a stylist to go in that hair, examine it. Sometimes you look and I'll be like, I'm looking at this band of black on your hair right here. Oh, why did it have it 3 months ago? That's still color on the hair. And then you have to figure out how you're going to take it off. Any other comments, questions? Can you relate to what I said? Again, please go on Ashley.com today and register for Texture Takeover. It is totally virtual. It is online. You can sit back in your house or in your salon, watch it, register today. It is free. Did I tell you that? It's free. It's a free 2 days of education. You're going to have technician after technician pouring into you. You could ask questions. This is unheard of in the market. We're giving you 2 days of free classes. We're going to go into detail. We're going to go over things over and over. You can ask us questions, prepare your questions for the classes. Go online, register today, Ashley.com, Texture Takeover. I hope you've enjoyed this class. If there's any questions, you could always reach out to us at Ashley.com, as well as follow me. I am on IG. I am the Color Queen Ashtay. One word, Color Queen Ashtay. I will respond to you. Ask your questions. Again, I will point to the videos we have. We have phenomenal education here at Ashtay. You can go in. We have fundamentals of color. I keep saying that over and over because it really, really is important to understand. Do not jump into a high lift color if you don't understand the levels that you have to go through. Because a lot of times it'll be like you'll stop at a level 6. Tell me, am I there yet? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? But if you understand that, okay, I have to go through, we teach you a little fun thing called Brogy, which goes through, you have to go through brown to red to orange to gold to yellow. So you can't stop at an orange and you're trying to get something that's a yellow. it's not going to balance itself off and it's not going to work. So make sure before you jump in ahead that you are fully educated on what you're about to do. And if you don't think you can do that, it is okay to refer out your client to another stylist that you trust or get the education and bring them back. But don't go in. The worst thing you can do is try to achieve something that you know you can't accomplish and you end up with a really bad result, and that puts a bad shadow on you. I could only help you when you understand the basics. And then from there, we can help you more and more going to classes, taking every class that you can get. Take them, understand it, and then therefore you can give an educational answer to the person. And then also, once you take our classes, we can help you better. So if we tell you that you need to fortify it, do this here, do that, you already know what we're talking about and you're not guessing. So don't try to go and do the perfect platinum if you've never had a class in perfect platinum, because you're going to end up with a mess on your hands. So again, this is how to do the perfect consultation, except be real with your clients. If they cannot achieve it, don't make false promises. It's okay. They'll respect you more to say that, you know what, you might want to stay at a level 5. It could be beautiful, rich. And also, again, I said, look at them, and maybe even their complexion might not even work for that there. But make sure that you go in, have that conversation with your client. Also, make sure that you educate yourself. That's why it's important. Ashley.com, we are everywhere. You can go on and follow us on Ashley.com. We're always giving out free tips. We're always giving little classes. We have IG Lives. We have Facebook Lives. We have so many classes to help educate you in this service. And like I said, do your research. Come to us, take your classes, find out what you want to achieve, and then you can go from there. I really enjoyed my time with you. I think we have a few more minutes. So if there's any more comments or any more questions in the chat, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
Okay, many people are saying good information. So thank you. We have just one more question.
Okay.
Can I perform a color service immediately after using a relaxer, or is there a waiting period?
Now, you can do a semi-permanent color after a relaxer. There's no waiting period. So you can put on semi-permanent color with no issues. You do not want to do a high lift color after a relaxer service or after a chemical service. If you know that client's going to get some color, the best thing is wait till they get the relaxer first. Bring them in between the relaxer at a week, week and a half. Give them a full fortifying treatment to their hair. Have them wait that week, that following week, and then you perform the service of doing a lightening service or lifting service. The old thing is 2 weeks before and after. That doesn't really work anymore, and you get a lot of bracket shedding. Whereas if you go and do that prior to and make sure condition, then you could do that. But do not try to do a relaxer one day and a color, or do a color. Especially don't do a color first and put a relaxer, because it's going to melt off your hair. It's going to fall off. So the safest way is to make sure the stronger of the two chemicals, which would be the relaxer, apply the relaxer, have them come back in a treatment, then they can come in and you can put some highlights through the hair or some lift or some bottom drops on the hair. And as you get more proficient, that we have some tricks that we teach you how to do, even some double services. You might have to do a partial on part of the hair and come back in and actually apply color where you're not doing relax. A lot of people wear their hair short on the side, so you can do a relaxer service there. And the top is natural, so you can go in straight at the same time. Just make sure you're not overlapping the two chemicals sometimes. You could do a color on the top with a relax on the side, but just make sure they're not done together. Make sure there's a separation between the two. I hope that answered your question.
Yes. So thank you. We don't have any more questions.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed my time with you. This was fun. Again, you can sit in. This video is probably going to be up for a little bit, so you can ask more questions. Type them in the comments, and we will get back and get an answer for you. Again, sign up for Texture Takeover. It's November 10th and 11th. Sign up, get online, enjoy all this education. Again, I am Yvonne Gaines, technician with Ashley Haircare Products, also known as the Color Queen. So follow me on IG, follow Ashley.com, and we hope to see you soon. Looking forward to it. Y'all have a great